Did you know goldenrod makes an excellent tea?
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Aaron.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Or what's inside. You suck. Finally, we're going to reveal the... Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Tomic's... veteran of the comic book industry for 30 years, I'm a writer, I'm an artist, and this sucks.
Stew, and her name is Minerva. Ouch. She's the flower of the coward. Ouch.
Don't start! We haven't left yet!
Hello, everybody. It's Aaron Live. This is December 21st, 2025. Do I look weird? Can't quite figure out. Yeah, well, you do what you can. I look weird with good lighting or bad lighting. You know, I'm trying to introduce some like warm lighting, and it's my camera, I think, that's like overcompensating all the time. And I think what I'm gonna have to do is quit using the built-in camera on this Mac and use actually like the camera I have over here for drawing, and like hook it up here, and maybe I could control the lighting a little bit better. I don't know. It's craziness is what it is. It is the holiday season, folks, and we are just days away from Christmas. And I can't believe it, how it's just snuck up on me once again. And, you know, I think I made this comment last week and maybe the week before and possibly the week before that, where I'm just desperate to regain some of that kind of youthful exuberance for the Christmas season. And I said, this year it's going to be different. I'm really going to make an effort. And instead, all I've been doing is like working, you know, packaging up books, drawing some artwork, packaging up books, drawing a little artwork, doing a little YouTubing, packaging up books. And it's like, it's every day is so full of tasks that are non-Christmas related that just the whole Christmassy thing just kind of gets lost once again. And here we are 4 days out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days out. And it still doesn't feel like Christmas to me, even though I got a few lights behind me there. So what are you going to do? Do you just accept it? Maybe, and I think I said this before, maybe when I'm just like old, like way older than I am now, let's say 10 years from now, if I'm still alive, maybe I'll be able to sit back and just revel in the Christmas goodness. But, well, it is what it is. Maybe if I made a pie, I'd feel better. I don't know. So I've been sick. I've recovered. My daughter keeps recycling sickness because she's teaching dance right now to young kids that are in junior high and high school. And you know how that goes. So now Nana's sick. Now, it's a cold, so we're hopefully that, a couple days it'll pass. But, when anybody's 94 years old and they get sick, it gets a little worrisome. So those of you who are praying, folks, keep Nana Faithy in your prayers so that her cold doesn't get any worse than a cold, and she's over it in a couple days, and we'll be off to the races. But anyway, Kelly's the only one who's avoided getting sick so far. And that's worth some applause, I guess. I discovered these sound effects on here. I can do this too. Yeah. Little gong. Yeah, look at this. This is crazy stuff, is what it is. Let's take a moment here and talk to our chat. See who's here, who is taking the time out of their holiday schedule to join us today. That's what we need to find out. Also, I want to give a shout out to Daniel Russell, who sent me this shirt. So we got Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, UFO. There you go. And I wear it proudly. Now, let me tell you a funny story. Actually, before I get to you guys in the chat, let me tell you a funny story. So my daughter goes, my friend so-and-so, I'm not going to repeat the name because, I don't have authorization. So anyway, a friend of hers from school, in the dance department. I told you the story that when we went to SummerCon, my daughter Samantha hung around the celebrity green room and met all kinds of celebrities. Most notably the two young men who were in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. They're now much older. So one of them, the character's name is Raleigh or something, I guess, like the friend of the Wimpy Kid. So anyway, he sent her like, birthday wishes, well wishes or something on her birthday, which was a few days ago, on Instagram or TikTok, whatever. And so she's telling this friend of hers, Samantha's telling his friend, oh yeah, Raleigh from Diary of a Wimpy Kid sent me a happy birthday. I know him, blah, blah, blah. And her friend's like, no, you do not. You're so full of it, blah, blah, blah. And so she says, she tries to explain to her how she knows this guy, right? And so she says, well, you know what my dad does for a living, right? And she says to my daughter, her friend says, oh, he's a Bigfoot guy, isn't he? And so she had, well, yeah, but no, he's a comic book artist, all that kind of stuff. But here's this girl that I don't even know, just met at the airport, quite frankly, a week ago. And somehow she knows that I'm the Bigfoot guy. So there you go. So not a comic book artist. I'm the Bigfoot guy. So there you have it. There he is. There he is, Bigfoot. So I thought that was pretty funny. And I thought, wow, I'm establishing a reputation that I was completely unaware that I was establishing. All right, so let's see who's here. Repairman Jack is joining us. Speaking of which, he says, I'm sure this week we'll finally find Bigfoot. Well, we'll find more videos of Bigfoot, that I can promise. Pastmaster Dan is here promoting my website. Thank you very much, Pastmaster Dan. Appreciate that. Unhinged is here. He says, share my screen. Glitch from across the pond is here. Gemini Dragon, Merry Christmas, GC and chat. I've hit that like button and we'll be bouncing in and out tonight. Well, we appreciate your attendance, even if it's only occasional. Randy Hall, all the way from Canada. Randy Hall commenting on the thumbnail for the show that's on YouTube. Says the thumbnail is a Christmas tree in the wilderness, proof that Bigfoot has Christmas spirit indeed. Legkick is here because Legkick is almost always here. There's Pantheon. Matthew Muma's joining us. Thank you so much. Delmar decides. Wraith. Oh, Wraith of God 3 arrived yesterday. It jumped to the top of Xmas Vacation reading list. Appreciate that very much. Thank you for supporting the campaign. Glad the book got there safely. They continue to go out almost daily. I'll have a huge, probably over 200 orders will be shipped out on Monday. I'm been working on them this weekend, and actually took some to the post office on Saturday, about 100 books. And I've been Saturday night, then today, I've been working on more getting packaged up. And yeah, anyway, so Glitch, how about this? Glitch sending £5 sterling. Merry Christmas, Aaron, to you and the family. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. It's got a little Santa emoji. Thank you for the £5. I appreciate that very much. Michelle Bowers, Lady with a Sword, is in the house. Lord Hinson, Comic Skater, joining us. Marcus Killigrew, purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge. He says, hey, hello, I'm in the final leg of my drive to pick up my mother-in-law for Christmas. Charlotte, North Carolina to Ocala, Florida. Ooh, over 9 hours. Aaron, get me there. Well, I'll get you there for probably a good 2 hours of that anyway. Gollum Wolf is joining us. Duck Bacon. Mr. Monkey Boy, 1969. He's accusing me of being a puppet abuser. That could be some truth to that. Let's see who else we got here. Corum. Merry Christmas, he says. Hope Santa delivers some Bigfoot sightings this year. What do we got here? Time FF. We got just a bunch of like symbol emojis. Digging that. Let's see. Nicholas Gear is here. Corey Landis. Yo, 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 and ho, 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 he says. Timotheus is joining us. Thanks for joining us, Timotheus. Rant Market. There's Man-Bat. Daniel sent me a better shirt, just saying. Well, he sent me the shirt that I need. What do they say about Batman? He's not the hero you want, but he's the hero you need. This is not necessarily the shirt that I wanted, but it's the shirt that I need. So thank you for that, D. Russell. Stealth X5 for 2 big ones says hello. Thank you, Stealth. Appreciate it very much. David Lynn, he says, you look lively. I just left you a message on Twitter. I read Wraith 3 today. I think he means Wraith, and loved it. Who knew Esther was such a badass? Oh, you don't want to mess with the lady that won't show her ankles. You do not want to mess with her. And let's see who else we got in here. Eric Boyd is joining us. I'll just roll through there. There's Farfig Newton. Farfig Newton. Remember that Volkswagen commercial where they said it's like Farfignugan, and it was somehow described the ride of a car, Volkswagen. You know, it was Farfignugan, which means something, I'm sure. And let's see here. Bullet. If only we could give Lopez a cannonball of our own. I don't even know why you would just walk in right out of the gate and say something like that. There you go, Bullet. You can't give me one, but I can give you one. Change channel to name Aaron that Bigfoot guy. The Bigfoot guy. I'd probably have more subs if I had a title like The Bigfoot Guy. Those guys get, they get, you know, these Bigfoot channels and stuff, they get all sorts of subscribers to that stuff. I don't think people are aware. What did someone suggest? I change the name to, I should change it to Comics, Cannonballs, and Cryptids. Maybe that would bring some people in. Oh, I'm liking that. Let me think about that. Stop flashing us, Aaron. I'm just spreading the joy of this t-shirt around. That's all I'm doing. Gray Wolf Graphics says, I wanted to back that one, but kept having freaking car trouble. meaning that you were going to back the campaign but couldn't because you kept sinking money into your car. I think I'm interpreting that correctly, and I appreciate it. There you go. Daniel Russell. Thank you much. Appreciate it, man. Very cool. Of course, Andy sent me a Bigfoot shirt too, and accused me of never wearing it. And I wear it on the show, not all the time, but I've worn it a couple times. The more Bigfoot shirts I have, the more I can wear on the show. So let's see here. Meredith, you know what they say about big feet? I don't know. I thought it was big thumbs. I don't know. Eric Boyd suggested the comics and cannonballs, but adding cryptids is a good idea. So yeah, it was Eric. Okay, I knew it was someone in the chat suggested that. Comics, cannonballs, and cryptids. We might be onto something there, folks. We'll see. We'll see what the new year brings, and it's not that far away, so we're gonna have to make a decision pretty quick. Randy Hall for $5 Canadian. Thank you, Randy. If your daughter marries a comic book artist, you'll be bagging comics in your old age. Your daughter marries a comic book artist, you'll be bagging comics in your old age. So you say the tables will turn, but that's only if the comic book artist crowdfunds. Huh? Yeah, then I probably will get suckered into it. Let's see, crotchety cannonballs and Bigfoot. Wraith of God, yeah, I just put two. Yeah, okay, there's Grey Wolf explaining his, but I felt like my mind reading, my reading between the lines, my putting together the story behind the chat was accurate. He says, Wraith of God, yeah, I just put 270K miles on this old car a couple of months ago. I'm over 100 on my truck, and I hear strange noises, and it's not like Bigfoot strange noises. It makes me a little nervous, but I don't use a truck very often. But when you need it, it's so great to have it. And so I'm not getting rid of it. I'm going to drive it till it explodes, which hopefully maybe I get another 50, 60,000 miles out of it. Let's hope. Let's see here. Bigfoot books, cannonballs. Bigfoot books. No, it would be Bigfoot books and balls, which we don't want to do. But I get the BBC. I get it. Daniel was saying Bigfoot in Uranus. I might get a big following, but it might be the wrong kind of following. You know what I'm saying? MJCRN dog. I don't know. And that probably, if you say it really fast, it probably says something. MJ Corn Dog. MJ Corn Dog. Merry Christmas, Aaron. Headed to a party, so I'll watch this in syndication. I love that. A rerun syndication. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Well, there you go. So this is going to be a very art-heavy show. I thought to myself, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I thought, oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. And then I realized it was all art-centered. So, I mean, it's not like a big surprise for this show, but there's not going to be a movie review. It's just going to be very art-centric. So you're just going to have to accept the fact that I'm a comic book artist and I'm going all in on what is, well, it's not going to be the last show of the year, is it? Because we'll do one on the 28th. It'll be like our New Year's show or our New Year's Eve show or a week before New Year's show or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, this is going to be comics and cryptids. That's more simple, isn't it? Comics, cannonballs, and cryptids, or just comics and cryptids. These are all good ideas. I'll have to make an executive decision at some point. What is Avenger 2 saying here? Aaron Lopresti's channel, where every episode is a National Lampoon Vacation. Still a Boomer Griswold minus the chase attitude. There's a lot there to unpack, and I don't know that I have the fortitude to do it right now. Sasquatch and Shredders, that's okay. All right. So let's move this. I could sit there and read the chat forever, couldn't I? See, that's what other people, they don't read the chat unless you pay them. not here. I read the chat just for recreational purposes. Okay, so I'm going to sort of do this.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Okay, so there's like a lot of goodies downstairs. Shelly made cinnamon rolls. Now she just made brownies. She made coffee cake. It's all like piled up downstairs. And I'm not going to lie, I've been mooching a little bit here and there. But my daughter's friend Ella is visiting and is going to be going home on Tuesday. Well, she showed up with these dark chocolate peanut butter cups from Trader Joe's, which admittedly I ate a significant amount of. So today we went to Trader Joe's and I picked her up these because I'm not going to take without replenishing what I took. So these are for her. So I'm not going to dip into these today, even though these are a treat. Well, you know what? I also got these because they were in they were like $1.49. I'm like, how can you not, so I'm going to eat these. So I guess I lied. I guess I am going to partake of all this. But I've had, I gotta change my diet. Right after New Year's, we're dieting together, all of us. But right now, as I'm about ready to shove this in my mouth, let's see what Frank Frazetta has to offer us today. Not one of my favorite Frazetta pieces, but interesting that it was painted in 1967, but then put on a book cover in 1970. So it was clearly, it was clearly a painting he did for whatever reason and then used after the fact, which happens a lot with the Frazetta stuff. It's not one of his more inspired pieces, but, it's still Frazetta. It's got a nice little Frazetta groove to it. The interesting thing about Frazetta is that, you got good Frazetta, like anybody, any artist, you got good Frazetta, you got mediocre Frazetta. I don't know if there's any bad Frazetta, but there's mediocre Frazetta compared to himself, right? Not compared to everybody else. But so you have great Frazetta, then you got mediocre Frazetta. But even the mediocre Frazetta, which I would classify this as kind of mediocre, average Frazetta, it's still got Frazetta coolness to it that makes you look at it. If that was that book cover, I look at that and go, oh, I'd pick it up because it's interesting, because it's just his style and his approach, the uniqueness of what he did as a painter, and also his immense talent as an illustrator, that you can just kind of phone it in sometimes and it's still like, whoa, that's better than most of us. So anyway, that was week 98, if you can believe that. So 2 more weeks. So next week, and then we will be, that was 98, 99. So then the 100th episode for Frazetta will be the first episode of the year 2026. And we will have guests. We'll have Dan Lawless on, and I think Gary Martin wants to come on because he wants to talk Frazetta. And we'll just do a whole Frazetta show. It should be fun. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Oof. Avenger 2. He says, honestly, Mr. Lopez, which would you get first? Thor by Simonson or Conan Omnibus Volume 4? by the time you're at volume 4, let me be honest with you, you're not probably getting the best Buscema. You're not getting the best so I would get Simonson Thor. If you're talking about if it starts from 337, is that right? The Beta Ray Bill issue, if it starts from his initial run on the book, that's where I would start, because that's some really good stuff. Even if you don't like Thor, you will love Thor after reading that stuff. Conan, I prefer the earlier issues. Like if you got an omnibus that had Barry Smith in it, and then like some of the Savage Tales stuff, and then, where Buscema just started on the book, and you'd get that Neil Adams issue in there, and maybe some Savage Tales in there that, Buscema did. There was some Buscema ink by Neil Adams. There's a few nice ones in there that I think would probably all be in the first volume of Conan Omnibus. That's what I would get. But boy, Simonson's Thor is landmark. So I would go there. That's where I would start. And I think you'd feel pretty good about your manliness, even if you started with Thor. Here it is. Yeah, the Simonson Thor Omnibus covers this. That's where I would start. It is wonderful. It's a great read. I haven't read the entire run of Simonson Thor. Of course, I read the Beta Ray Bill saga, and then I read the Thor Frog saga, and then some stuff in between here and there. I really need to set aside time where I can sit down and read this stuff, because I'm not that well versed in a lot of stuff that happened, like in the 80s and stuff. I am aware of it. I read Spider-Man, I read some other stuff, but as I got older, my reading got less and less. And then when I became a professional, I hardly read it all. I would look at what other people were doing. And if something looked really, really spectacular, I would read it, but I'm going to have a lot of reading to catch up on when I retire, if that ever happens. So, yeah, let's see. David Blinn says, I wish I had my paperback Tarzans from the early 70s. You know what? You can still get them on eBay, and I don't think they're that expensive. I don't know if you're referring to the Neil Adams Tarzan covers. Those are really awesome. And, let's see. Daniel Russell says, my show is going to be comics and kidneys. That's right. I can stop anytime I want. That's right. Okay. Everybody's talking about their chocolate and stuff. Okay. You know what I have from Conan? Dark Horse put out these collections when they had the rights to Robert E. Howard. And I've got I think there's 5 volumes. And so they're mostly Barry Smith, but then there's some other stuff. And I also got the King Cole ones, because I love that John Severin run. That was only the first 10 issues. Then Plug did a couple issues, and then whoever. And I love those first 10 issues of Cole. I love them. But I have those. And for some reason, volume 5, the Dark Horse collection, is expensive. Way more expensive than the other ones, like $100 or something like that, where the other ones are $20, probably because they had the lowest print run. But anyway, I have those, and I think they're in color. Of course, the omnibuses are in color too, right? It's the essentials that are black and white. So confusing. I'm going to go along with this. German milk chocolate is the best. Funny how such an emotional cold people make great sweets. Swiss and Belgian milk chocolate are next best. I got chocolate when I was in Germany, and then I got chocolate when I was in France, in Paris. And the German chocolate is better than what do you call it? The French, I guess the French chocolate. So there you go. I will confirm what Avenger 2 is saying. Let's see. All right. Paul Taylor's here, says Belgian chocolate is greater than German chocolate. I don't know that I've had Belgian chocolate, so I can't say. I can only compare German to French, and I preferred the German. Although we did have this amazing hot chocolate at Palace of Versailles. They have a little restaurant in there, and we had some food and some hot chocolate, and it was like, whoa. And so we bought a can of it, and it's like you bring something home like that, like from Paris, right? And you're like, you don't want to use it because you don't have any way to replenish it. And so it just sat there, and it's been up there for 10 years. We've never used it. I tried to make some the other night, and it was like, it wasn't that great. And I thought, I wonder if sitting here for 10 years may have affected it negatively. So that's kind of a dumb thing, but and I also got up to use the restroom, right? And there was like this walk-in area. It was just the most bizarre thing. So you walk in, there's all these stalls, right? And there's no men or women's bathroom. It's just like whoever. So there's an old lady there. Oh, it's funny I say old lady. Probably was what I am now, and this was 10 years ago for me. And she's like, where's the women's bathroom? And I go, it's all right here. And she was like, ooh, so yeah. I was kind of uncomfortable. I don't like the idea of men and women sharing bathrooms, but I see that in Portland now, and I don't like it. So anyway, there you go. Tilts at Windmills received his comic the other day. Thank you. Hey, thank you for ordering. Appreciate it. Okay, so here's what's happening with Wraith of God 3 in the shipping department. I did tweet out a couple days ago that all the single order cover A, B, C, and Ds were out. That is a lie, because what I found out was, as I continued to go down this this packing list that I hired someone to make for me, is that if you ordered with the Art to Bear Garbage Man card, right, the special link that I gave up to people that early signed up early, if you ordered with that link, that was a separate category. Right. So I said, oh, I just did all the cover A's. Then I've kept going down to, mailing stuff out. And I went, oh, wait a minute. Here's another. But this is because it was separate, because I used a different link to order, basically the same thing. So those all went out, I think, on Saturday. And Shelly's lurking in the background.
I'm lurking. Oh, look at your little festive tree.
I know, isn't
and
it?
Skull.
Well, the skull, yeah. It's I lit him up. You're on screen, by the way.
Oh,
I don't know if she's in her pajamas.
I'll come in and say hi for a minute until the pain meds kick in, and then I'll go back to bed. Hi, everybody.
I need labels.
Oh.
She prints the labels. What am I supposed to do?
Oh my gosh, we feel so stupid how we used to do it. Critical Blast, right?
Yeah.
Freaking rock star hero. We were like, what? I'm almost embarrassed to see what we used to do.
You only know what you know, right? Till you know
true.
Differently. So we were entering.
Put things one at a time. And then I would write on the back of the label what the order was. We're so dumb. Like, the first Wraith was so big. Like the first
we had
night
over
we did
2,000 orders that first
one, and that was when we were really dumb. And I was like cross-referencing on Excel spreadsheet and I cannot even. The first night, all of a sudden, not only did the printer actually work, but it spit out like 246 labels at a time. And we were like, I am embarrassed how stupid we were.
Well, see, the thing is, I still have to package the books, but at least you don't have to spend hours in front of their typing up.
And then I don't have to try to sneak in there and get like 100 of them printed. That would take me hours.
Yep.
So if we were younger, I would have to say like Critical Blast gets our firstborn, but that ship has sailed.
Yep. But so the story is, so I discovered these are listed differently in different categories, but they're basically the same order. So I am going through right now. I'm almost done with the literally all the single orders. I've only got
in like 1 week.
Yeah, so I just got a couple more to do.
You know, we spent over 6 weeks on the last one.
We did. And if it weren't for Christmas coming up here,
if it wasn't for Christmas, bah humbug,
it would be done. We'd be done maybe by the end of this week, but because of Christmas,
clean the house because
people coming
we got
over.
them babies.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we're working on it. They're getting out there way faster than they were last time, and so now
we're so dumb.
You can teach an old dog new tricks, is apparently.
We're so dumb. We're so dumb. Oh my gosh, that's probably why my headaches have gotten so bad. It was that first Wraith campaign. My neck just exploded. But
you'll be happy to know we still make stupid mistakes here and there. So, or I do.
Well, you know.
But yeah, it's me. But we're getting better. We're getting better.
And then pirate ship, I had to like go like on like help thingy, life support, and it was hysterical. Hi, Merry Christmas, you guys. And they all like talk all piratey. It's really cute. And I told them on that we used to use stamps.com, but even the interface on pirate ship is so much easier that stamps.com is just stupid.
Well, and stamps.com for some reason sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. And I was really getting fed up. So Paul Taylor, $10 Canadian. Thank you. Says, Merry Christmas, Aaron and Shelley, and your indentured servant mother. And Happy New Year to you and yours and the people in the chat. Well, thank you very much, Paul.
Yeah.
Appreciate that very much.
So if you guys are like on Facebook with me or follow me on Insta, which of course I have like 17 followers. I just posted the cutest video of our grandson.
Here it comes.
I just don't think there's cuter kids anywhere.
Of course.
Because I got tired of laying around feeling sorry for myself in pain, I thought I need a hobby. So I decided, let's do sourdough about 5 years late because I know everybody did it during COVID. And then I thought, well, I'll just make my life really interesting and I'll do gluten-free, which is like a science experiment. So now I'm doing both gluten and gluten-free. So I made some cinnamon rolls. And they lasted a couple days. So I had to make another batch. And I took one down and our grandson was eating some. And apparently he liked it very much. So they had him say thank you to me. And so when we left, we put him to bed. Last thing he said to him is, Nana loves you very much. So the next day when they're videotaping him, he said, thank you, Nana, very much.
Thank you, Nana, very much. Very cute.
They're like, did he just say very much? So cute. But I think I might post your Darth Vader video. He loves Darth Vader. But anyway.
Yep.
But I'm going to go back to bed now, but thought I'd come in and say hi and thanks for all your guys' support. And I'm going to get all emotional. And especially all your positive messages to me. It's been a rough go of pain. And I just had, counting Botox, 4 procedures, 3 on my neck and 1 for my low back. So I can hopefully be somewhat functional. And I decided not to go with the implant. I talked to my neurologist who did not recommend getting permanent wires into the base of my skull.
So anyway, here's living proof. I have not killed my wife.
I know. I thought
still here.
I had just been absent from everything. I function enough to see my grandkids, and then I sleep the whole next day. And but yeah. So hey, your wife and daughter are gluten-free? I'll send you some. I'll hook you up because I am really good at gluten-free. Just by the way, proof of life. Yeah. Yeah.
Lord Hinson comments says, my wife just went through her sourdough phase. Scrumptious.
And it's good for your tummy. I really like you have to plan, and then the whole kind of, got to feed it and plan ahead. I mean, it took
It's like
3 days for me to get the cinnamon rolls done the first time because I like to do the overnight ferment.
well, you're getting pretty good at it though. The stuff is turning out better and better
Well,
with
the
more
first two
regularity.
gluten-free loaves I could have sold as boat anchors. But I've bought, I don't know, a few $100s worth of different flours. And I found one that I'm getting from Italy that's supposed to be like the best
Imported.
gluten-free flour to use, even though I've got, what is it, cassava, teff, of course, both of the rice flours, the starches. What other flours do I have? Almonds, spelt.
Oh, no, you got a lot of bags of flour for sure.
I was trying everything just to figure out what was good. And then all of the Bob Red's Mill blend sucks. King Arthur's pretty good. Those of you that
King Arthur, there you go.
are looking for that kind of stuff. But anyway, I feel some relief.
James says it's amazing how interesting the show becomes when Shelley shows up, isn't it?
No.
You mean it gets weirder, he says.
Yeah,
We started talking about it. We didn't know that sourdough was on the
I know. I just bring so
on the
much
menu.
to the show.
hang on a second. Let's take care of Jen.
One of these days I'll show up again with my hair brushed. Maybe makeup.
That's right.
No
and
guarantee.
who knows?
And less swollen.
Heads will
I've
explode.
been up since 3, so I made a big old Amazon order. What else did I do in the middle of the night?
Stuff's always showing up at our door, and I go, "Oh, Shelley was awake last night."
I think I order more ink for the fulfillment. Ooh, what's something with cinnamon rolls on there?
What? Chris, Evil One for $2 says, "Merry Christmas, Shelley. I miss
Hey.
hearing from you." Oh,
Thanks.
that's
I miss
nice.
me too.
Creative Faye, hi, Aaron and Shelley.
Hey.
Thank you, Creative Faye.
I will do another weird overshare, but for the last 3 years, since the whole breast cancer thing and then in my back, I haven't really done much with my hair. So I kept it up in a messy bun this whole time. So I thought, likes are climbing. Oh, I went and got my hair cut and cut 16 inches off my hair. And I wasn't really looking, but I just told her, I said, I just feel like I've lost me. So she's drying my hair and I look and I go, oh, there I am. I just started bawling. But it's nice to feel like I'm coming back.
Paul Taylor says, "I don't discuss hair," because he's like me. He's challenged.
Well, it's short, but it's freedom. Oh, but anyway, I'm getting there. Next is getting my chubby butt in the pool, start working out again, and I'll hopefully feel better. But headaches first. Surgeries are done. What else?
I think that
I hope that's it. I didn't take much more.
I will rouse you later tonight to print out labels. So just letting you know.
Don't rouse me too much.
You don't know what'll happen.
If I'm still breathing, don't bother me. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna ask you what group because I'll go do it right now. But
No, don't do it right now because I want to talk to you and make sure that we're on the same page. So there's no confusion.
Well, my goal, let's just put it out there, within the next month, I'll be back with brushed hair.
All right. So stay
But
tuned.
that day is not today.
Shelley will return in the new year. You heard it here first, folks.
All those resolutions that never.
Yeah.
Okay, love you guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks for buying our books and helping us, get to eat next week and stuff like that. Last doctor's appointment, they're like, "Do you have stable housing?" I look at Aaron. "Do we have stable housing?"
I go, well, until next month.
Can you pay your electricity bill? I look at Aaron. "Do we pay electricity bill?"
Until next month.
She thinks we're the weirdest people ever. Do you feel safe at home? Do I feel safe at home? Okay. Love you guys. Eat.
See you, Shelley. Thank you for stopping by. That, of course, is Shelley Showtime.
Shelley Showtime.
Got
ready for prime time.
There you go. All right. So where were we? Yeah, it's interesting what a weird, I shouldn't say weird, but a popular thing sourdough is. I had no idea. Like people are coming out of the woodworks going, "Oh yeah, I do sourdough," or "Oh, my wife does sourdough," and I was like, really? I didn't know that was a thing, but it is a thing. All right. Okay. So I got to get whenever you have a guest star show up, it's just, I don't know. Now I've got to get myself figured out here. Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about?
You can play it.
Oh, they don't want to see.
Yes, they do. It's so cute. Sorry. Is it on there?
Did you get permission from his parents?
I'll just ask for forgiveness. No, they don't care. I told you the other one. She commented on it.
All right.
It's the cutest thing ever.
John Durham says it's at best.
I think I sent you the short version.
Just don't get any sourdough from Uranus, Aaron. Yeah, that's the last place I'll be looking.
Pretty sour.
All right. So where were we? I wanted to. Were you going to make me show it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to show it. I guess.
Cutest.
Where did it?
Ever.
Where is it in my download? My
It'll
downloads?
be, yeah, probably.
All right, hang on a second
Yeah.
here. Okay.
You guys can all message me just how cute this
All right.
is.
So this is me showing my son the scene, or my grandson, the scene where Darth Vader walks in to the ship at the very beginning of Star Wars.
And he likes.
Yeah. And he's got a Darth Vader action figure in his hand. Now, he's only 2 years old.
Well,
So
he'll be 2 in January. Yeah.
yeah, so he's almost 2. All right, here we go. That's me.
In case you're wondering.
And that's my grandson. And look, as you can see, I've got Iron Man, Spider-Man, and then Darth Vader here.
So he plays them the theme songs to their shows, and he drops one and runs and grabs the other one. So he has to have the right action figure in his hand
when the song plays. Okay, here we go. So we're watching it on my phone. Look at his face now. Then he looks at Darth Vader and back to the screen.
Wow. Darth Vader.
Dude, it's cool, Bobby.
There it is.
All right. How cute was that? Aren't you glad you saw it?
Shelley got her grandma moment in.
Oh, man, I was born for this. Thank me.
All right. See you later. That is not true. I mean, there's a little bit there right on Bigfoot's face, but it's not. I'm not getting that. That picture, I would just kind of, scrunched up a little bit. So, yeah, we cut around some of the violence, not that there's a ton of violence in that movie, but yeah, 2 years old, you got to be careful. Got to tap dance around that a little bit. All right. So, okay. So this is just a thought. It came to my mind the other day, and I was like, why do all Christmas songs suck? Like contemporary Christmas songs or mainstream Christmas songs. And it dawned on me, because all the good Christmas songs are Christian worship songs, like, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Glory to the Newborn King, or Joy to the World, the Lord has come. Those things, right? Those are all the great Christmas songs. And it's like, when you take Jesus out of Christmas, then it's meaningless. It really is. It becomes this sort of secular holiday where people give each other gifts for no good reason. And so everybody has these, like Paul McCartney's Christmas song, just, it's terrible. Lennon's is terrible. You just, Mariah Carey, that thing, Wham, Last Christmas, I gave you my, and it's just like, they're just horrible. But the timeless hymns, the Christmas hymns, are timeless, and they're always good because they have meaning behind them. Now, that's not like a big revelation, but I just thought I'd throw it out there because it did sort of hit me. I was like, why do all secular Christmas songs suck? and that's why. And I'm going to I'm going to die on that hill. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. This is a Christmas show, so let's start off by capping on bad Christmas songs. Okay. But I wanted to, I told you, I warned you, it's going to be art-centric show today. And I want to take a look at some of my favorite Christmas images. And the interesting thing is there's not a ton of religious illustrations, but there's a couple that I really, really like. Most of these are more Santa themed, but they are classics. And so let me share some of this. Let's start off with our good friend who's no longer with us, J.C. Leyendecker. This, of course, was a picture, the cover to a Saturday Evening Post. And I have been desperate is a little, I've been for years wanting, because I do collect Leyendecker Saturday Evening Post covers. Not all of them, just the ones I really like. And the Christmas ones are really hard to find. And when you do find them, they're like way too expensive. So I don't have this one. And this is a very popular one. It's been, they put this stuff on everything. But I do love this one. And I don't own it yet, which Evil One says only songs from The Nightmare Before Christmas are any good. That is a good movie. Yeah, so getting back to the songs real quick. I mean, it was hyperbolic what I said, because not every Christmas song sucks, but a majority of them do, because the lyrics are dumb. They're not really saying anything. And so they do get annoying after a while. But I always felt the Christmas hymns always stuck with me as having a greater staying power and just emotional meaning to them. So anyway, but now let's get back to secular Christmas, which is Santa Claus. Now, of course, Santa Claus was invented by what's his face, the guy who did Night Before Christmas, and he was a Christian man, and of course regretted creating Santa Claus in his story because it became the focus of the Christmas holiday instead of the birth of Jesus. So he was a pastor, I believe, and I think he felt really guilty about that. But I do love a good old Santa. I do, I must admit. And J.C. Leyendecker, of course, produced some of the best. And here's another one of Leyendecker's that I don't have this magazine yet either. And someday, well, if it better be someday pretty quick, or I'm going to die of old age. But this is the December 26th, 1925. Can you believe that? So that's like 100 years old this week, or it would be next? Yeah, starting next week, 100 years old. No, it's this week. It'd be Saturday, right? No, Friday. Christmas is Thursday, so Friday would be the 26th. Love this one. Don't own it, though. It kind of ticks me off. But I will get it. But when I see these come up, they're like over $100. I'm like, I ain't paying that much for this. But maybe I'll have to if I actually want to get one. Because I don't want you, people sell just the covers, and I want the whole magazine. That's just how I am. So, and I want it in decent shape. So, I'm a little bit picky. I don't treat them like comic books, but I do want them in decent shape. But anyway, I love this one. Another great Leyendecker piece. Now, there's a Leyendecker piece, the third Leyendecker piece on this list. And I actually do own this magazine. This is the one Santa that I was able to find. And you know what I noticed about it? It kind of, Husker. I thought this was great, but I think we're supposed to look. He has a little, like, see how his beard connects here? I think this is a fake Santa, and was like a guy dressed as Santa, but he's not really Santa. And the dog's chasing him up the ladder, and so he looks like Santa, but he has a fake beard on, so it's not really Santa. So it's like the fake Santa cover. But I do own this one, and I love it. I think it's a great. Well, I love all of Leyendecker. Well, not everything, but just about everything Leyendecker did. So the authentic Santa covers I don't have, but I do have the fake Santa cover, which is still great. And this is December 20th, 1930. This is, I mean, Christmas is the time of year where nostalgia just becomes so important. And can you imagine buying this off the rack in 1930? And I guess that would have been the Depression, so it might not have been all that great. But snow on the ground and just wholesome life, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm pining. I mean, I'm looking through rose-colored glasses, but just, you know, old movies and just the whole thing. I just kind of long for it. I had a good time in the 70s, though, with Christmas as a kid. Shopping malls were a new thing. And, oh, well. Here's a Norman Rockwell piece I really like. Now, I do own this one. It's in really bad shape, though. The cover's detached, which kind of ticks me off. I can't stand that. But I didn't know it when I got it. And so I got it. And I was like, well, you know. But I still think this is a great Rockwell piece. So again, I don't own the original. I own the magazine that this actually was the cover for. Going to the mall and going to bookstores. God, I miss that. You know, paperbacks with Frazetta covers and James Bama, Doc Savage covers and Boris covers. Oh, it was just like the bookstore was like a place of wonderment to me as a kid that was, you know, 8 through, you know, 13 or 14. I was just lived in them. I loved bookstores. I've become a grumpy old man. It's sad. Here's another Rockwell piece. I don't own this magazine one, but I would like to. This cover. I think this is really good. I like the Santa face. I just like I just think that's great. And I'm almost positive that's a Saturday Evening Post cover. But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on this one either. I really like this one. It's really nice. You know, and here we are just like swimming in AI. And I think you just have to take a moment and look at the quality of this piece of artwork. That, and of course, you know, Rockwell is one of the all-time greats. But you look at this compared to the image behind that I've been using for my screensaver, which is just an AI image of Santa Claus reading the Bible by a fireplace. And it lacks character. It lacks personality. It lacks life. And yeah, it's easy to generate, but just the skill, you know, and the artistic vision to do something like this, make it look so dang good. That's what I miss. As an artist, I miss this classic period. Would be like, man, I would love to have been an illustrator back then. But you'd have to be a great illustrator. Otherwise, you get your butt kicked by these guys. But wonderful piece. So I'm going to hunt this one down too. Again, these are some of my favorite Christmas illustrations over the years. I've plugged this book many, many times, and I will continue to do so probably till the day I die. This is the cover, but he also made a print out of it, which I have hanging in my hallway. The is it the Life and Times or the Life and Adventures of Santa Claus? The book was originally written by Frank L. Baum, who wrote Wizard of Oz. And Plug adapted this into a graphic novel. And it was originally published through Tundra, which was Kevin Eastman's publishing company, the Turtles guy, for a while. I swear that dog does not bring Christmas joy to my heart. Anyway, and there was also a French version. I guess the reproduction on the French version was way better than the American version, as Plug told me. But he also said that he didn't even really, he said his adaptation of this story was so different than the actual book that he said it's hardly even an adaptation. But, you know, there was source material, so that's how he listed it, even though I think it was, it's public domain. It's got to be. But, you know, you don't want to like borrow something like this and then have someone accuse you of ripping it off. So you just want to give credit, even though maybe most of it's original to what, you know, Plug's vision was. But anyway, this is a great, this book, which came out in the mid 90s, early to mid 90s, is such an inspiration to me. And it always has been. Just, I mean, Plug did everything. Penciled, inked, colored it by hand. Did this is a painting, obviously, for the cover. The inside is all watercolors. This is probably oils. And I just cannot recommend this book enough. I don't know where you get it at. Probably eBay. Maybe they still have it on Amazon. I don't know. But it's just wonderful. And so if you have not experienced this book, please do. I just use it for artistic inspiration. And just like you read this book, if you're an artist or a creator, you just look at that stuff and you go, this is what I want to do. I want to do something like this. And it's just, whenever I'm searching for a little artistic inspiration, I crack this book open and it just fills my heart with joy. I mean, it's really true though. Sounds a bit sappy, but it really is true. Okay. Another guy we cannot forget is Hayden Sundblom. Sundblom did all the Santa Coca-Cola ads. And that, I mean, he literally did like hundreds of them. And there's a whole book of his called simply I Dream of Santa. And it's all of his Coca-Cola art with Santa Claus that he did. And this is probably, there's like 2 or 3 pieces he did, but this is 2 or 3 of his pieces that are like, I really, really like. I mean, I like all of them, but I mean, really like, this is my favorite of all of them. I just like the way Santa looks. I like his face. You know, the kids back there hiding, kind of peeking out through the doorway. They're cute. Everything works on this really, really well. And Sundblom, of course, had this studio, and Gil Elvgren, the famous pinup artist, who just is, no one can touch his superiority of pinup art. He's so good. Although Sundblom comes close. But Gil Elvgren was in this studio. And if you look at Elvgren's painting style and Sundblom's, you can see that he got a lot from Sundblom. And Sundblom did some pinup stuff too that was really good. But Elvgren was like next level, man. So anyway, but we're not talking about pinup babes. We're talking about Santa. And this, I love this piece. And if you look at the Coca-Cola bottle, look at how well that label looks. And he did that all by hand, and painted that on there, and it looks so good. The logo on the bottle. It's just crazy. Again, I just get kind of like a little misty eyed when I look at this stuff from the golden age of illustration. And you're just like, computer stuff is just crap compared to stuff like this. This is just so wonderful. And it's going to be, David Williams and I were talking on the phone the other day about how we're dinosaurs right now. This stuff is going to be like, people aren't going to even know what we're talking about when you say like oil paints, another generation. Let's see. Art of Roy says Earl Moran was as good. I don't agree. Earl Moran was good, but I don't think he was as good as Elvgren. Amanda, Dave Williams saying, I thought I was your artistic inspiration, Aaron, you hussy. I don't know that I like that. And Dave Ulbrich is in the crowd. Thanks for joining us, Dave. Hey, pal, your heart grew 3 sizes that day. And it could. I got this grumpy, shriveled up old man heart, and it needs to. And when I look at Plug or look at Sunbloom or something like this, my heart grows, just like the Grinch. But I haven't got the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2 yet. So we'll see if that manifests itself at all. Okay, now how about this? I respect out to my my good buddy Billy Tucci. This is a wonderful piece, and I give Billy so much credit for going out and doing this comic. Billy Tucci's A Child is Born, of course, the story of the birth of Christ in comic book form. It's a really wonderful book, and I love this image he did on the cover. And I guess he had a friend of his, or friends that were, a couple, this gal and her husband or whatever, did like posed for Mary and Joseph and stuff like that for him. And just this is a really beautiful piece. And so Billy Tucci gets a special Christmas shout out. Now, Dave Ulbrich says, Plug makes me weep with joy. Now, Dave knew Mike because we had Mike do, there was like a Christmas special, a sludge Christmas special back from the Malibu days that Plug did. And originally he wasn't going to do the cover. So they had me do the cover, but then he decided to do the cover, which I couldn't understand why he wouldn't do the cover. So I did the cover, and then they said, no, he's doing his own cover. So they used it as a pinup. And I think they used it in the back of that Christmas special. But you should check that out too. Plug doing sludge. Come on now. So anyway, Billy, getting his act together and doing a Christmas story, Birth of Christ in comic book form or graphic novel, however you want to look at it, was really nice. Really nice thing that he did. And I think it was very successful for him too. I should do that. I should adapt some Bible stories. I keep wanting to do like, David and Goliath and stuff like that. I just don't know if I want to draw all the Israelite soldiers on one side of the valley and all the Philistine soldiers on the, that's a lot of work. I'm talking myself out of it even right now. Anyway, so there's Billy. Now let's take a look at, now this irritates the heck out of me because I can't find an image of this online. It is so hard to find. And maybe I'm not searching correctly, but I've got to show you. This is probably my favorite, like religious / Christian illustration. This is Robert McGinnis, the famous book cover artist, Robert McGinnis. Now, this is something he did for Guidepost magazine, which I've got to assume, I don't know, but I got to assume that's a Christian magazine or was a Christian magazine. I don't know. And also uses a Christmas card. But the 3 wise men going towards Jerusalem, and then you see the star over or pardon me, not Jerusalem, Bethlehem. You see the star over where Jesus was born. And I love this. McGinnis is so freaking awesome because if you looked at his Western stuff, just forget about his paperback stuff. Just look at the Western stuff he did after his paperback art, his movie poster art. The design and execution is so freaking awesome. And so much drama. And this is just a great piece. God, I love this piece. I would love to find the magazine. This is probably the cover, right, to Guidepost magazine. I guess I should look up Guidepost. Maybe that's how I'll find this. But yeah, so they have this illustration in his book, Tapestry. But this is probably my favorite all-time Christmas illustration. God, so good. And that's in this book, Tapestry. The paintings of Robert McGinnis. Look, I dinged the book, what do you call it? Dust cover. You know how I am about that. It's no longer in mint. This is such a great book. In fact, we're going off the topic here just for a second, if I could. There's a lot of his like nudes and stuff, which is okay. But look at this. This is the entire painting, but all of the focus and attention is right here. And you got all this dead space over here. And that gun smoke, or the gun smoke from his gun blowing back that way. I mean, that is a bold layout right there. It's freaking awesome. Most people would have put this in the middle, or maybe put this guy over here shooting this way. Let's just look at this one right here. Look at that. Look at the composition. Are you freaking kidding me? Brilliant. Even this one over here, where you got the cowboys over here and this big rock formation and stuff. It's just, this Western art is just ridiculously good. Some of this. I really like this one down here on the bottom. I'm not going to show you every one of them because they're all great, but I love this one. Look at that. So you got this cowboy looking over a cliff at these Indian tents down here. Again, it's just a freaking awesome composition. I mean, the work this guy did after he got out of commercial art and was started doing Western art and fine art and it's not just like I said, it's not boring Western art. It's like comic book Western art. I mean, it's just like the imagination, the use of the design elements. It's so freaking good. Scott Jonesy for £2 sterling from across the pond. Have a lovely Christmas. Thank you, Scott. You too as well. I always love, when you watch like Christmas Carol or whatever, when they show kind of old England covered in snow. I bet you guys are wishing for the good old days in England right now. I'm going to show you one more. I don't own this because I haven't been able to find it in good enough condition, because you know about me and my comics. But this is, we looked at this on the Professionals the other night. If you missed it, Santa Claus Funnies. This is Walt Kelly, folks, from Pogo fame. Is that not a great cover? I almost bought this a couple times, but it was just because of that white cover. Look how brown and soiled. That just looks dirty. I would like a cleaner copy, but there's not a lot of them floating around. So it's not super expensive. I'm just trying to find a decent enough copy that it looks halfway decent, but I definitely want to get this too. Scott Jonesy says, "Happy Christmas to all of you outside of London. It's gorgeous, mate." Okay. Randy Howell from Canada says he's willing to share his snow. I'll bet. But anyway, there's some groovy Christmas stuff. In fact, there's one that I forgot to that I wanted to show you guys and forgot to, and I'm going to look for it right now because this is another one I want to get that, again, hard to find in decent shape. It's not super expensive, but it's hard to find in decent shape. And again, it's a white cover, so that probably has something to do with it. This is Harvey Kurtzman did a book called Humbug. It was a humor book, and Jack Davis did the cover for this one. This was more, those, see, 15 cents for January 1958. This had to have been like more magazine size, is what I'm guessing. It's a bigger book. But I love this Scrooge drawing by Jack Davis. Love it. And look at this. Look at the covers all chewed up like a rat got in there and ate his comic book collection. So these are really hard to find in decent shape. There's one on eBay right now that's like $75. And it's in pretty solid condition, but it's way more than it's worth. But at this point, I'm kind of like, I just kind of want it, you know? So maybe I'll cave and get it. But I just think this is great. So anyway, there you go. There's some of my favorite Christmas images. Oh my gosh. Scott Jonesy says his wife gave birth to their first baby 9 weeks ago. Congratulations, Scott. That is awesome. Way to go, Jonesy. Geek Adventure for 5 says, I was taking a nap, got a D&D game at 5 p.m. You nerd. Just dropped to say, we're praying for your mom's health. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Stay out of trouble. I will do my best, but trouble follows me around. I should have my own television series. Trouble follows him around. Wasn't there some kind of series like that? Wasn't there? It was shorter, but it was kind of like Trouble is my middle name. I don't know. Maybe I'm dreaming that whole thing. All right. Oh, this show's just going right along. It's almost 5 o'clock my time. So that means that we need to get cracking. And I don't mean butt cracking. I mean get moving forward. And so we're going to go right into this. Yes, we're reaching the end of the 80s and dipping into the 90s. So I'm trying to get the last of the guys that were sort of got their start in the 80s, but maybe were more prominent in the 90s. And Silvestri certainly fits into that category. He had a lot of cool covers. Some of the ones I was looking for, I couldn't find, which was interesting. I don't know. Maybe, I spent about 2 to 3 hours prepping for the show every Saturday night because I have nothing better to do. But after a while, you're just kind of like, I'm tired of looking. I'm just going to go with these. But these are all really good ones and ones that I like. I didn't like, cut any corners here and just say, well, I'll just throw this one in because I need another one. But let's take a look. This isn't, I put this one on because I think it's significant. But it's at the bottom of my list of, and let me just say this. Silvestri's really good. So it's kind of like, there's not really covers I look at and go, oh, this sucks. But I'm just trying to pick out my favorite ones that really sort of stand out apart from his other covers, right? So this isn't near the top of my list, but I do think it's significant because it is Darkness #1. And as much as Cyberforce was a big deal, I think Darkness was more popular, don't you think, in the long run? Maybe I'm dreaming. Delmar says, when do we get Aaron Lopresti in this segment? I will be the last segment. and will be my covers after everybody else is done. In fact, I may devote a whole show to them because do you guys realize I did this before? I've done over 230 some covers in my career, which I thought maybe I've done 100. I was stunned when I found out how many covers I'd done. They're not all brilliant, but I think I can probably find 10 or so that are pretty good. But yeah, that'll be at the end of the line. We're not there yet. Okay. So yeah, Darkness #1, like these little gremlin dudes down here, and then the snakes or serpents. I don't know. It's with this chick who's got angel wings but devil horns. Not really sure what's going on there. I never read this book, but I certainly would see the covers come out and go, "Ooh, that looks cool." So anyway, that's where we'll start. Now, again, this is not in any order, particularly, although I usually save what I think is my favorite cover for last. But of course, your mileage may differ. It may differ, and you may see things completely different than I do. But this is just one man's opinion. Let's go way back to the 80s and take a look at this. X-Men Inferno. I kind of like this cover. Now, it's usually not, I usually gravitate towards the single figure or two figures that are big and bold on the cover. This is more of a ensemble piece, but it's coming at you. It's kind of the movie poster design. You got the Goblin Queen in there, along with Mr. Sinister, who looks incredibly like, how do I want to say this? It looks surprisingly a lot like Colossus. I never quite figured that out. I wondered if they were somehow related or if it was just Silvestri being lazy in his designs. I don't know. Oh, so that's not the original Darkness #1 cover? Well, okay. I still like it, though. Thank you, Art of Roy, for enlightening me. And I do need enlightenment. Isn't it funny how everybody in Image, before they went to Image, with the exception of Dale, I think, well, of the big names, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Silvestri, all were X-Men artists or X-Family artists. Dale, of course, was the Hulk. And then I think, well, McFarlane was Spider-Man. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense that the Image guys came off big books. I mean, that would explain part of their popularity. But I like the red background. I just like this cover. So therefore it is included. Let's see here. What do we got here? Okay. Now, hopefully this is the original. Again, this is not my favorite Silvestri cover, but it is significant, so I put it on here. Cyberforce #1. Now, this takes me back to the Malibu days, the Image days. I was a young swinging dude with hair. It's kind of making my way in the professional world of comics. And this stuff was, I remember it was just, it's so funny because when it came out, we were like, oh, this is so cool. It's brilliant and blah, blah, blah. Now you kind of look at it and go, the stuff that Silvestri has done recently, like that Batman comic and things, is way cooler than this. But it was, man, this was the style that people were just going nuts over this stuff. And it is funny how sometimes you've got timeless styles, say like Kirby or Buscema, and then you've got guys that are very much a product of an era. And this is very much a 90s style of artwork. And it's funny how Jim Lee, Silvestri, Liefeld to a lesser degree, because he didn't draw as well as these guys did, but he's still using the same finishing style. It's very much that image styles that these guys figured out with Scott Williams, and it was monumental, and it blew us all away. But now we look kind of back at it, and it feels a little dated. It's interesting, very interesting. But this, of course, is a prominent cover in the Silvestri canon. Now, I can't even for the life of me tell you why I like this cover. I just do. Now, I was very much a contrarian, and people were saying, read X-Men. I wouldn't read X-Men because everybody was telling me to read it. So I was like, screw you. But what I did start reading was X Factor, because there was this weird vibe with the original X-Men that they were kind of outcast, right? Because the new X-Men were just much cooler, and these guys were kind of duds. But then they just hung around with the same basically, silly old costumes like the Beast and all this kind of stuff. And then they became sort of a counterculture cool. And so I threw it all in with X Factor. And X Factor started with some Silvestri art, some Butch Geis art, and then Simonson took over. And I don't know, I can't remember if Louise started this series or if she came onto it later. I want to say she started it, but I always thought Wheezy was a terrific writer. And so when the Simonsons teamed up on this book, I was all in. Now, this is just before that happened, but why do I like this cover? Okay, let me tell you why I like this big blob. He looks like a pear, this big triangular pear shape. And then I love the Beast, right? Like this extra, his arms are like too long and his head is too small. Stylistically, I don't know. I just really like this cover. I can't explain it, but it is well designed. It's a very well designed cover. So you have your big central triangle here of the blob, and then these other characters sort of swimming around him like this, and this sort of curvy S shape kind of thing going on here. So you start with Mystique down here, and you can just go just like that. And it's just a really nice design. Why is that on there? What did I do to deserve that? Where did that thing come from? Anyway. So anyway, just this obscure X Factor number 9 cover makes my list because I've always liked it. And it may be inexplicable in some ways, but yet I love it. Now, I remember when this cover came out and I was like, okay, this is cool. This to me is when Silvestri was sort of like going next level, rocking it. Look at that. I mean, there's so much line work on here. It's just insane. But the heavy blacks, again, this is all sort of very sort of Jim Lee-ish, but the thing that it's so good about this is it's so well drawn. I mean, underneath all this like ridiculous line work, which you all think is, oh, that's so cool and blah, blah, blah. And it is, but the drawing, this face is really good. And this kind of gnarly claw hand and some gnarly claw hand back here. And the black on the arms and everything, creating volume. This is really, really nice piece of work. And again, what have you got? You got a big, centrally focused image, and just with a great lighting effect and well drawn. So, and then it's just hyper detailed, and I'm sort of weird. I can go this route and go, this is really, really cool. Or I can go the more Adam Hughes route where it's more open, but just because it's really well drawn, I still like it. So James says, actually not a fan of this one. Well, what do you know? I do. I love this cover. And I wasn't reading X-Men and Grant Morrison. This is when they were like in their black leather, which is interesting because I I did some issues of X-Men in their black leather, and I was just like, I hate these black leather outfits. But I did do some artwork just prior to this. This, I think, came out when I was at CrossGen. And I had done some X-Men issues. I didn't get to do the covers. I think Olivetti was doing the covers on it at the time. But I had 3 issues, and they were inked by Mark Morales, and a little bit by Danny Mickey. And this one's inked by Joe Weems. What was the moral of my story? I don't know. I didn't really like the black leather outfits. I didn't like the Grant Morrison run story-wise. But again, I was like, I saw this cover and I was like, I don't know. I might have bought this cover just because I thought it was so freaking cool. Paul Taylor says, Aaron's extra grumpy tonight. Am I? I think I'm just normal grumpy. Do love that. All right. And let's see here. Okay, now you guys will have to help me with this, because I'm sure this was a cover, but I couldn't find one with a trade dress on it, so I'm not sure, but this might have been an advertising piece, but we're going to pretend it's a cover. This was from that Batman thing that just came out not too long, I guess a couple of years now, but it was a thing that was sitting around forever, and then Silvestri finally finished it. And I don't know, man. You know what I really like about this sort of more modern Silvestri is the sketchiness of it. If you look at how rough these holding lines are around Batman and all this sketchiness in here, because it feels like a pencil drawing, even though it's inked, with all that sort of loose sketchiness. I was trying to capture this kind of with Wraith of God. I don't know if I know I didn't capture it like this, which is really sort of my intent. I mean, look at the muscles and the legs. I have no freaking idea what's going on in here, but I don't care. It just looks cool. And Dino Palazzo is saying, I just sent your book out, by the way, Andino. And I wrote something really nasty on the box. No, I didn't. But I did just send your book out. David loves Silvestri. There you go. Glitch, you don't like that one either? Of the Nightcrawler? You guys are high. You guys are smoking weed is what you're doing, and you're just confused with reality. I don't know. I love this piece. And for all the reason, I mean, you got, again, big central cool image of Batman, but I just love the sketchiness of it. And look, it's like no material looks like this, but he just looks tattered. He just looks like if you opened this up and it was in somebody's sketchbook, you just go, whoa. And that's kind of what it feels like. And that's what I really dig it. It's got that kind of, energy to it. Scott Jonesy says, I missed his super chat. Well, let me go back and check. There it is. Jonesy for £2 sterling. Thank you, sir. Says, of all your covers, which one is your favorite? Of my covers? Let me think about that for a minute. Let's finish this first, and then maybe I'll go back and find my favorite cover. Have we verified if this was a cover or not by somebody in the chat? Okay, he's saying it had nothing to do with that. Well, what was this for then? See, look at all you guys like, what's going off the chest logo? That stuff doesn't matter. It's the coolness, right? And we can sit there and say, well, that chest logo should be lower. It's like up in his neck. It should be down farther on his chest. The thighs. It's all about cool. And this piece is cool. And that's all that matters. Paul says, Aaron's Atari Force cover is my favorite cover. No, it isn't, Paul. Because I've never done an Atari Force cover. The thing is, if someone paid me, I probably would do it. Well, Paul's arguing with me. His chess logo is iconic, Aaron. It matters. Cool doesn't matter. Paul, that's all that matters. Why do you think these people are popular? It's because their style is so freaking cool. Now, you may not respond to it, but the majority of people do. And that is... Arteroy doesn't know what this is from, but he says it was the time he did the Batman Darkness crossover around the same time. Okay. David says that last Batman series is a masterpiece. It is pretty freaking awesome. And if you get the black and white version, Andy Smith was nice enough to send me, he had an extra copy, sent me the black and white. And I don't remember, I don't think there's any dialogue in it. I think it's just like an art edition with and it's all black and white. It's like you can do that and then retire, you know? I haven't hit that yet, but we're working on it. Maybe my Barbaric Tales story will be the one that I can retire on. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next thing you're going to tell me this is like brand new too. But out of all the Darkness covers that I've seen, I like this one the best. And I like it because of all the like little extra stuff. Look how sketchy that is. That looks like, you know, Joseph Clement Cole or something, you know, with this kind of the line work and stuff and just the sketchiness of it. That's what I really like about Silvestri is just the energy that's in his line. You know, that's something I have not, I mean, I capture a little bit of that when I'm actually sketching, but when I do finished pieces, I tighten up. And this is really cool. Really like that sketchiness. And it's really sort of artistic, you know, this sort of whatever this is that he's sitting on or crouching on. I think that's pretty cool. But like I said, you may not think so, but I do. All right, we're going back on this. This is just because this isn't my favorite cover, but it is kind of iconic, so I figured I better include it. Follow the Mutants, X-Men 227, where they're all coming out of the sun. I mean, this is a pretty classic cover. But isn't it interesting how much simpler his art was here at Marvel than what, you know, he's doing now? There it is. Apex Comics says it was originally from Batman Black and White #2 as a pinup. Okay, so I can't really count it as a cover, but I did anyway because it's just a great drawing. But thank you for that. Hard to believe he's been doing it for 40 years. Hard to believe I've been doing it for 35. Let's see here. I would agree with that. David says that feels like Simonson. I think I'd agree. Kind of does. I wonder if some of these guys, because this is, I don't know what year this was. Was this like 87 maybe? 86? 88? Somewhere in that neighborhood? Was Simonson's Thor kind of influencing these guys a little bit? I wouldn't be surprised. This is more of a feel good, remember the 80s kind of cover. And it is iconic and, you know, very memorable just in the design of it. All right, how about this? Ooh, I always like this one. Again, we're back in the 80s again. Oh, maybe this was the 90s. No, it would have been late 80s. Well, 50 years. Yeah, this is it's 1991. Okay. This is just prior to Image then. I I love this kind of cable and shadow up here lurking. Dan Green inked this, so you have this kind of loose inking that Dan Green does. But look at the figure work here on Sabretooth. This is really nice. You know, that arm and this chest and midsection here, and even Wolverine. It's well drawn, you know, and there's still kind of he's still sort of developing this sort of image style, if you will. But super cool. Dan Green's a really good artist, by the way, or was. Kind of has a Klaus Janson kind of ink feel to it. But I always like this cover. You know, you've got Cable up in the shadows, and you got Wolverine fighting Sabretooth here in the sewer. You got this perspective going here into the circle motif background. So all this stuff is sort of bursting out towards us. It's got a lot of energy to it. I like it. It was, again, well designed, in my humble opinion. This is probably one of his more iconic covers here. And I know he semi-recreated this on a Witchblade cover. But I remember this going, ooh, and it's really very simple, right? I mean, there's a lot of shadow in here. He didn't put a lot of work into these skulls. It's all sort of, you know, they're all sort of like kind of this, a little bit of Simonson, a little J.R. Jr., a little, it's just interesting. The artistic approach here. Look how loose these lines back here. You know, if these guys did this again, every one of these lines would be perfectly straight. And there'd be 100 more of them than there actually are. But again, I like the roughness of it, the looseness of it. Kind of Ron Garnius-esque too, in a lot of ways. Ron is very loose right now. And it's just the stuff has so much energy to it. But yeah, that's like, you know, Wolverine crucified on an X, a wooden X. Just whoa. You know, I mean, these are the kind of images that people are like, what the heck? I got to pick that up. And again, that's the purpose of a cover, right? Especially get people that aren't X-Men readers like myself to buy this book because you're like, whoa, what am I looking at? This is so cool. All right, now here is probably, for me, this might be my favorite all-time Silvestri cover. It's hard to say, but it's up there. Look at that. That's where these Wolverines turn into a brood, right? Again, I never read this stuff. But it just kind of, his figure's a little bit twisted, and that just the nice shadow on that face. Just, you know, iconic, and again, super loose. But David had mentioned in the chat something about Wrightson. I can see Wrightson like right in here, you know, and in some of this stuff. Dan Green inked Wrightson too in the 80s. And he did a portfolio with Wrightson in the 70s. He had a nice piece in that portfolio. I can't remember if that was the Pellucidar. What was that? Was that the Edgar Rice Burroughs portfolio? It might have been. But anyway, I just think this is pretty freaking iconic. Well, what kind of happened also, yeah, he says, Avengers, he says, yeah, notice they don't create a lot of great covers for mainstream comics anymore. They have no art directors at Marvel or DC anymore, I think. Well, that's true. But one of the biggest problems was when we started going to the diamond format of, soliciting 3 months in advance. And a lot of times the scripts were not written and we had no idea what the story was. They'd say, oh, just draw Wonder Woman standing here. Or, now I'm kind of a mixed bag because in my career, I would say about half the time I knew what was coming up next and half the time I had no idea. So that's why you get iconic covers. They hire an artist to do a cover because they want to use the cover and they just draw Wonder Woman standing there or Catwoman standing there or whatever. Batman on a gargoyle. Which became Mark Chiarello's pet peeve, by the way, at DC when he was art directing, is people kept drawing Batman covers on gargoyles, and he'd seen it a million times. And Jim Lee, I think, defended himself by saying, yeah, but it looks really cool, which is true. But there was way too much of that going on when there used to be storytelling on a cover, right? That kind of gave you an idea of what might be happening in the book. And that sort of is... not completely, but it has fallen by the wayside in many instances where you're just not getting a good reflection of what's happening in the comic. And you get too many of these posy, iconic, but they're not really iconic because they're so overdone, posy covers. And so it was always nice when you knew what was coming up in the issue. And a lot of times I had good fortune in that regard where I would have meetings with the writer and then we would know where we were going. And so I could produce the covers ahead of time and they would tie in, with the book. But anyway, so those are my fave Silvestri covers. And someone had, who was it? Scott from across the pond asked me what my favorite cover was. And okay, that's not it. I'm looking really, I know which one it is. Well, I know which one it used to be. I don't know if it still is or not. I'd have to go back and look at all my covers again, which I haven't done in quite some time. There it is. There she is. Okay, so, and this might just be recency bias, but to answer your question, because you did pay me $2 sterling, £2 sterling, this probably, I really like this cover. Mainly because I went in here and used some heavier shadow on his figure. I really like the three-dimensionality of his torso here. This, of course, was for Rob Liefeld's miniseries that I think they did one issue and then they canceled it because he quit over some sort of disagreement. But I really like this in here. I wouldn't call it loose, but it kind of feels loose and bumpy and has more of a three-dimensional quality. I don't like really slick, rounded, formed shapes because it feels more like porcelain. I want something that has a little bit of a meatiness to it, if you will. And I think this captures that really well, like this thigh and these legs and everything like that. The hair. I really like how this cover turned out. And my machine stuff, which usually blows chunks, I thought this it's like some sort of giant robot tech thing that he defeated, I guess. And I like how that stuff turned out. Now, if I go back to all my covers, this may not be my favorite anymore. Andino, that's a terrible cover. Who drew that? Oh crap. Never mind. Yeah, I'm maybe I am getting grumpy. Remember, Andino, I may have packaged up your book, but it has not shipped yet. So let's be careful. Yes, there's a lot of empty background on it, but that's kind of the point. I colored this myself too, and I'm reasonably happy with the color job too. I mean, it's pretty simple, but I like what I did with the background, you know? Anyway, so, you know, for the time being, until I actually do my covers on the show, we'll pretend that's my favorite. Let's see here. David says that's one of my least gay covers. I had some nice, speaking of gay covers, I had some nice amethyst covers too on that run. I was pretty happy with. There's, you know, for the most part, there's a few covers that I'd like to have back, but for the most part, especially in when I was really established and kind of had a style and kind of knew what I was doing, I put thought into my covers, you know, because I didn't want to do crappy covers. There's a few that I could live without. Aaron, Merry Christmas, my friend. Thank you, JW. Appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you too. Merry Christmas to everybody in the chat except Andino. Everybody else, Merry Christmas. No, I don't want to be racially insensitive in Cannonball David, so I don't want to get in trouble for that. Let's see. So I think it's time. I was going to do flat files, but my gosh, we are running way late. So we'll save that for maybe next time, because we need to do this. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's do the flat files. I got them ready. We're doing it. Yeah, flat files, baby. Okay. So I started doing this on Graybeards, but I didn't get through the whole thing because I couldn't find everything. But now I'm prepared. I wanted to share with you some Christmas art that I have done over the years. I told you it was going to be art heavy. I have not done one of these this year, and I usually do. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. Maybe I should get on that. But I've done my fair share of Santa sketches over the years. This is back in 2021. I haven't done any recreational sketching for probably a month or more because of fulfillment is taking up that time that maybe I would spend just sketching for recreational purposes. But so we got this Santa, which I thought was, you know, it's a nice little Santa with his rosy cheeks. Here's another Santa. I really like this one. I like this is all, well, colored pencil and marker, but the flesh tones are all colored pencil. I like that one. That's more traditional, you know? In fact, after drawing this, I was like, gosh, I should have painted that. You know, tried to go like old school, you know, Sunblum or something like that. Of course, I would have embarrassed myself, but you know, it'd still be fun to do it. But I really like this drawing. It's a nice little angle. Very pleasant. I like that one. I want to say I did this on Graybeards, but I don't know if I did or not. I know I sold this. I sold all of them because that's what I do. But yes, look at my little Coca-Cola Hayden Sundblom tribute there. Certainly not as good, but that's back in 2021. 4 years ago. Can you believe that? Crazy. 4 years ago. I may have done that on Graybeards. I just don't remember. But I'm not afraid to do a few Santa drawings. This is one of my faves. I used this in a sketchbook, on the title page of a sketchbook. So his face is colored pencil, and the red is marker, and the black is marker. But I don't have any colored markers. I always do flesh tones and stuff with colored pencils, and then I do, I do have red, obviously, and I would do marker with that. But this is when I was working on Wonder Woman 2013. Wow. That is what they call 12 years ago, folks. And this was on the title page of one of my sketchbooks. The only thing about Santa here, he doesn't really look that fat, does he? He looks almost like that coat might be a little baggy on him. But anyway, so he found Wonder Woman in his bag, and it's kind of like, some people are accusing me of this like being a kidnapping cover, but look at his expression. He's surprised to see Wonder Woman in there. So the idea was that Wonder Woman crawled into his sack to score some toys and then got caught in there and ended up back at the North Pole, kind of thing. I did not have. Yes, I know Marston was a weirdo. Funny, for being best known probably for drawing Wonder Woman, I was never a huge Wonder Woman fan. This is a pretty good one. This was on a Christmas card. I need to bundle my Christmas cards and sell them again, or my greeting cards. This is the Christmas card. This was a bizarre combination of markers and watercolor and colored pencil. I used everything on this. So Santa stuck in the chimney. Now let's get to the Grinch drawings, because we all know I've done a bunch of those. I really like how this turned out. So that's 2 years ago. That's all colored pencil. The Grinch was such an impressionable thing on me. Because it came out in 1966, I think. So I was like 2 years old, almost 3 when this first came out. And I have very vague memories of it. But I do remember, one thing I remember was when I was old enough, which was probably 4 or 5. So that'd have been 68, 69, somewhere in that neighborhood. And this was coming on TV. And back then, if you didn't see it when it came on, you had to wait a whole nother year. Now, of course, I got it on DVD or whatever. But so I was in a Christmas program at church, and this came on a Wednesday night, and I saw ads for it on TV, and I was like, oh, so psyched to see it. But I had rehearsal for this Christmas show at church, and I missed the Grinch the very first year that I was aware of it and wanted to see it. I was very sad. The Christmas show went well, thank you very much. And but so I don't think it was till the following year that I finally got to see it for the first time. And then it became kind of like Jaws to me. My mom wouldn't let me go see Jaws because I was too young. So it became my obsession and my favorite movie of all time. The Grinch is my favorite Christmas show, probably because I was denied seeing it when I really desperately wanted to see it. And so now I watch it every year. And This year is no exception, although we haven't watched it yet because I think we're saving it for Christmas Day. Now, this isn't exactly brilliant, but I don't even know if I still have this. Maybe I do. But the Grinch smoking. I mean, I didn't spend much time on this, but it was just for fun. And there you go. Because it feels to me like the Grinch would be someone who would just be blasting a heater and just grousing about everything. So there you go. Smoking Grinch. Now, this was last year on Graybeards. It's kind of a fun piece. The Grinch trying to get away from Santa after stealing his sack of toys. And I did this on toned paper, so it makes it seem even more special. This was this. I mean, this is borderline poor taste. After I posted it, I kind of wished I hadn't, but this is also from Graybeards. This is the Bumble. Oh yeah, that's how it really would have went down if poor Yukon Cornelius. Oh well. What are you gonna do? Sometimes you just forget yourself and get a little carried away. But yeah, poor Yukon. I think I did another one with Hermie. I think I added Hermie's head down here too. So anyway, now look, I did some character sheets for the Grinch. I did this in my sketchbook, and I think this appears in my 20 years of sketches, if you're able to get that. It's out of print now, the nice little hardcover. This is this one right here. I love this one where he's yelling. And this one where he's smiling and looking very evil and sinister. I saw Peter DeSev. He did the design work for the Grinch, animated Grinch movie that Cumberbatch, whatever his name is, did the voice for. And I saw those sketches like, oh, that's so cool. So it kind of inspired me to do my own sort of Grinch sketches. I have great, my sketchbooks are full of cool stuff. When I die, they're going to be floating around on the market, probably for dirt cheap, sadly. This is my very first Grinch drawing on Graybeards. I didn't even scan this. I took a picture of it with my iPhone. I don't know why I didn't scan it. Pissed off Grinch beating up a snowman. That's quality right there. That was like the very first Christmas show on Graybeards, which makes me sad thinking about Kelsey. Whatever happened to Kelsey? And then on that very same year, I think it was the same year. Yeah, 2022. So yeah, we've been doing Graybeards for 3 years now. And this was, yeah, look at that, 2023. My Grinch and Baby New Year drawing for our New Year's show. And finally, this year, if you missed Graybeards on Wednesday, you missed this little gem where the Grinch has just knocked out Santa with some sleeping pills and is getting ready to steal Christmas. I should color this. Will I? Just don't know. So anyway, there's the history of Aaron's Christmas drawings over the last several years. All right, so that's what's in the old flat files today. But now, folks, it's time to do a little monster hunting. This show is so stinking long. I'm going to have another peanut butter cup. Okay. Oh, I've got some stuff today. Let's you've heard the old story or the joke, why does the chicken cross the road? The better question is, why did Bigfoot cross the road? Let's take a look and see. Maybe you can tell me. This is just a innocent mother and daughter walking down the middle of the road, which I have no idea why they'd be doing this, but there they are, and dad or somebody's filming it. Now, I want you to keep your eyes back here. See what you can see. Now, do you notice how the mom and dad are not central in the frame? There's Bigfoot right there. There he is. Okay, so hang on a second. So you're filming your wife and daughter walking down this road, right? Which, number one, makes no sense, because what if a car's coming? I mean, I have no idea. But then you're filming it so that they're not the center focus. They're off to the side. Seems a little fishy to me. But anyway, let's see what else here. Let's see if we get a little more action. So you see him walking around back there. Now let's, they told us, they slowed it down so we can take a closer look at it, which I think is important. Okay, there it comes. You see this blur motion right there. And then out of the blur comes Bigfoot. But he's white, so is that Sasquatch? So the bigger question is, why is this woman walking down the middle of the road there's a guardrail there there's not even a sidewalk or a path. Why isn't she walking over here in the grass? This whole thing is staged. Come on, man. As our good friend Joe Biden would say. Do better. Now, honestly, I can't tell if this is a dude in a costume or if they added it later. But this is a pretty fishy events right there. Now, Paul Taylor says, unless they're in Australia or England, because they drive on the opposite side of the road there. Okay, I see that. So then they would see the oncoming traffic, I guess. But still, you wouldn't. Why would you be walking? There's no place to go. If a car was coming, there's a guardrail right there. So we going to jump off? You know, I don't know. Fake. Okay, so now, what do you think of this? This is maybe the clearest video you will ever see of Bigfoot. This was in Alaska, allegedly. And Bigfoot and his son. Oh, there's a bear just walking by. Doesn't even notice them. And it fades out very cinematically, I might add. Let's take a look at that again. Oh, there comes the bear. I guess he's cool. I mean, a grizzly bear, he wouldn't attack Bigfoot. He might attack you and me, but certainly not Bigfoot. So what do you think of this? So the question is Bigfoot and his son AI generated, or is the bear AI generated, or is it all AI generated? Because now after this video, then they talk about how Bigfoot fought off the bear to save his Littlefoot son, yet they have no footage of it. This can't be a dude in a costume, can it? And then they just put a bear in there later. And there's no way. You know, it'd been funny is if this was a dude in a costume and there really was a bear out there and the guy got mauled and killed for a Bigfoot stunt. But where's the bear come from? He just boom. It's right there. And the fact that the bear is the bear even looking at him until he starts to look back right there? But that could be looking at the guy with the camera. So this is either a live shot of a bear and they put Bigfoot in later, or this is Bigfoot and son and they put the bear in later, or the whole thing is BS. Here we go. People in the chat, they know stuff and they're telling it to me right now. A bear wouldn't approach another animal like that, says Tilts at Windmills. Paul Taylor, our resident biologist from Canada, which is kind of close to Alaska and depends, I guess, where in Canada. He says that would be funny. That would be tragic. We'd have less content. Glitch says maybe we are all AI generated. You know, that's an interesting thing as my dog goes nuts. 10 years from now, are we even going to know if we're real or not? Bigfoot is CG inserted into nature documentary footage. I'm kind of leaning that direction. Taking their pet bear for a walk in the woods. It's Shane and John on a date. That's not very nice. No, that's what I think. No grizzly would just go by without attacking. Grizzlies are mean. That dog's driving me nuts. You didn't hear a gunshot. I didn't do anything except close the door. Okay. I think that there's fakery afoot here. Although I do kind of like this video. I don't think it's bad, to be honest with you. I look at it. Ooh, what? I mean, the fact that they have Bigfoot reacting to the bear, I think is kind of cool. And then, but he's not like too worried about the bear. You know, Bigfoot is like, oh, I see bears all the time. They don't mess with me because I'm Bigfoot. That's what he's saying right now. You know, he's kind of, yeah, just a bear. Plus, if you're filming something, what are the odds that you're going to get Bigfoot and son and a grizzly bear all in the same shot, like in a matter of like 10 seconds? Seems like probably the odds are not in your favor there, but you know, stranger things have happened. But if you bring this into my Bigfoot class, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to give you a B on this. I kind of like it. Even though there's definite fakery afoot here. All right. Do I want to show this? Okay. Yes, I do. Okay. All right. Now here, well, I'll show it first and then I will explain. So this is Bigfoot, Colorado Bigfoot, okay, from 2009. All right, are you ready for this? And I have much information. Okay, so right through this clearing, there he is right there. There he is. There he is. You see him walking there? I think, Do we get a shot of him in the bushes, like his face or something? Where was it? Yeah, like right in there. Oh, there he's walking right there. That's what, okay. He's not shaking. There it is right there. See that little movement right back there? So there's really nothing else good on this, but except this right here. Right now, this came out in 2009, and people were like going, oh my gosh, you know, this is the best thing we've had since the Patterson Gimlin film, right? And then guess what? They admitted it was a dude in a costume, and they just did it as a publicity stunt to get promotion for a short film they were doing. Okay, so let's look at this. This looks as good as anything we've seen on this show. Well, okay, that's not true. There's been some decent ones, but this is as good as most of the videos we've seen on the show. And it's fake, which, you know, it's not a big surprise to anybody, but at least they admitted it. So it's like, that just goes to show you that these people, they'll do anything to get a little attention, and all these things are probably fake. And this is a prime example of a dude in a costume, kind of blurry, getting a couple quick seconds of him walking through the woods. And that's what we're here for. That is why I am here, is to keep you guys from being suckered in to this. So there you go. Proven fake. Admitted, the guys who shot this admitted it was fake. So there you go. That's all we need, is a few of those guys to come clean, tell us the truth, and then we can move on. So I appreciate their honesty. But that's just another example of what I'm talking about, right? You can't trust anybody. You can't trust. You can trust me. You can trust me and my Daniel Russell Bigfoot shirt. This you can trust. Exactly. Thank you for, yes. I'm here for you guys doing the work so you don't have to. Now, what I'm about to show you may shock you. It's a terrifying video, and you will be the judge. And then, of course, I'll come in later and tell you what I think. But initially, anyway, you will be the judge. Don't know where this is at. Don't know anything about it, but here you go. Prepare to be shocked. Huh? Are you freaking out? Oh, look at it. Look at it. Black, black. Is this like a little rake they captured in the woods? Is that what that is? Is it real? Look at the people. They're kind of like, ooh, they're looking stunning, frightening, savage. Let's watch them again. Do you think that thing would bite you if you stuck your fingers in the cage? Because those people got their fingers in the cage. Look at him. He's banging against the cage. He wants out. He's howling. Look at those eyes. The devil's eyes. It's like a doll's eyes. Lifeless. People are saying chupacabra, golem. Here's the thing. Now, there's been a couple creatures on this show that I have debunked officially. One of them is the chupacabra. You may not, we did a debunking episode. This was a while ago. And the chupacabra was one of the ones I debunked. I went back to the very first sighting that was reported, the circumstances surrounding it, and then how the legend grew from that. Fake. The other one we've debunked is the Loch Ness Monster. And I also went to another debunking site to get more information about So those were the two. There was some other third one that we debunked, but I'd never even heard of it. So it was like, didn't even really count. But so these have been fundamentally proven to be not true. They never existed, which was the chupacabra and the Loch Ness Monster, even though they keep trying to push the Loch Ness Monster on us. And it saddens me because I would love for there to be a dinosaur alive someplace, but no. So the Loch Ness Monster is officially debunked. That's why I don't do Loch Ness Monster videos anymore. And the chupacabra. So this, I believe, is a rake, right? Which we haven't debunked yet. So I think that's what this little guy is a rake, right? Isn't this a rake? Jersey Devil. I'm open to the Jersey Devil. I haven't found much. We found a little bit on the Jersey Devil, a little bit on the Mothman. Skinwalker, rake, aren't they basically the same thing? I know a skinwalker is sort of like a shapeshifter kind of thing, right? And the rake is like this little bald, pasty white thing that rolls around in the forest on all fours. Everybody's saying it's Mike S. Miller. That's not very nice. Gollum, chupacabra. So we know it's not the chupacabra because we know chupacabras do not exist. Gollum, of course, we know doesn't exist, but this could be a skinwalker / rake, which, much like the Pennsylvania melonheads, we have yet to debunk on this show, but we're trying. We're trying either to debunk or to prove one way or another. Look at that guy. He's very pissy. He looks like a naked little mini Nosferatu, doesn't he? I love these people are kind of like this is good performance art, though. In all honesty, though, they got the empty cage. They put these people around them. They're looking, ooh, like that, and then they put the CGI in later. I like this video quite a bit, actually. They have the people saying stuff like, oh my gosh, what is it? Blah, 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 and the thing's going, so put a little effort into it, I would say, honestly, if this was like a final exam in my cryptozoology class, I like this one actually a lot. I would give this maybe a B+, A-. This is pretty good. It's pretty groovy stuff. I like that. And he's really scary looking. Look at how creepy that is. I love how that's a nice little touch. He's not just cowering in the corner, but he like bangs his head against the cage to get out, to get at these people who've captured him. My better question is, how did they capture this thing? Did they put like some carcass in the cage to draw him in there and then capture? If they did, where's the carcass at? There shouldn't be some bones in there. See, that's what keeps this from being an A, like a B+. It's like where's the raccoon or whatever they put in there to lure this guy in the cage so they could trap him? Because he's not just going to walk in the cage without bait. And they didn't just walk around with the cage and go, oh, look at that, let's rake, drop the cage on him. There had to have been like a trap involved. And they didn't think it through. They didn't think it through. Now Glitch says, no, they put a ring inside the cage. He's still pushing the Gollum theory, which I guess. What are you saying? He didn't drop behind the bars. Are you saying it looks like he's behind the bars? Don't you think? Maybe I'm not looking at it. It looks to me like right here that he's behind the bars. Let's see when he moves. Maybe you're onto something. Let's see. No, the bars are still in front of him here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I see it right there. Right there. His head goes out in front of the bars right there. Yep. These darn kids and their CGI. All right, well, thank you, Paul, for that. See, I would have to take this film over to see. Paul would be teaching biology and I would be teaching cryptozoology. I'd go over to his classroom say, Paul, what do you think of this? And he'd go, well, his head goes right through the bars right there. And I'd go, oh, you're right there. Yeah. So I'm going to mark him down, but I still think it's pretty good effort. So I'm going to give him a B- then, I guess. If he just corrected the bars. But clearly this guy, this is like he did his homework like the night before. He knew it was due. So he's just, he was out partying and not doing his homework. He raced to his computer, put this together the night before it was due. Has a pretty good monster, but he didn't take the time to fix the bars right there. So let's give Paul Taylor a big hand for figuring this out and being on top of that. Could also be I got really bad eyesight. Now Vespa guy says, is it a phase shifter? No, because he would have phased right through the bars then if he was a phase shifter. So, Hey, Angela Curry's in the house. There you go. She says Merry Christmas to Past Master Dan, but I'm sure she means to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Yeah, you need a convincing story to go with that video for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, I think Paul caught him. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this this holiday spectacular Christmas show of Christmas art and strange cryptid videos. That's all I got. This has been an epic 3-hour show, though, and I appreciate you guys coming in. Couldn't do it without you. I hope you all have a very merry and safe Christmas. And we'll be looking for you right here on Aaron Live on a few days before New Year's. My dog is freaking going nuts. Anyway, thank you guys all. Merry Christmas. We'll see you in a week right here on Aaron Live. Good night, everyone.